My original craft was sewing. Started sewing when I was 13. For me, I would sneak into my mother's sewing machine when I was younger than that, but I wasn't allowed to use it until I was 13. And from then on, I have always sewn in some way. And it started because we didn't have a lot of money, and I was female, 13, and I wanted stuff. So I started cutting down big skirts, full skirts of my older sisters, made into short outfits and tops. That was the start. Well, my mother's complaint when I first got on the sewing machine was always, she'd be yelling from the other room, slow down. That still hits home. If I start making mistakes, I'm moving too fast on the machine. Believe it or not, to sew a straight seam can be hard. A straight, even seam. I got into quilting when I started becoming interested probably in my late 40s. My grandmother had quilted, so I grew up with her quilts. She was a hand quilter, and I've never been a hand sewer. I've always been machine, and now a larger machine. The first item that was close to quilting, I made a little pinafore. So I would be probably about 45 when I did that. It was very small, and it scared me because I'm not mathematical, never have been. That was not my good subject in school. And there's a lot of math in quilting, especially when you cut it, because you have to be accurate in cutting and you have to be accurate in your seaming. And then when I was 50, I changed my life. I left my original marriage and began a new life. And in that new life, I took some quilting classes. And then I started, then I just went, and then it became an adventure. I took a class on paper piecing, which is a method of quilting. And this is my first project. So this would have been made in 1998. It's an angel. It's a Christmas wall hanging. It was quilted on my sewing machine, not on my long arm. There's not a lot of quilting on it. And it's also, the fabrics are very dated. You won't find fabrics like this in these colors now. That's how quilting changes. Long arming is a machine. It works a little bit different than a sewing machine. You can quilt on a regular sewing machine, a lot of people do. You move your fabric under the machine. In a long arm, this machine goes forwards, backwards, angles, and you move the machine over the fabric. At this point in time, we must have 50 or 60 quilts in here. And then there's many years that they've gone out. My sister has 2 queen. My nieces and nephews here each have queen-size quilts. They have baby quilts. Gave a quilt to my doctor that was leaving town. They're all over the place. I also do charity quilts. I both long arm charity quilts and I sew charity quilts. And that lets me give back to the community. It also keeps me closer to my kids because most of my quilting, half of my quilting is done with some family member in mind. But all quilting is done of my own stuff with the thought of at some point it'll go to my family. I think it was the first time I entered a quilt into a competition and it won. That's the first time I thought, oh, okay, you are doing a good job. It's something that can stay with you from the time you're really young until you die. Maybe when you can't see anymore. This room is heaven. I am so lucky to have this room. But I have sewn in the kitchen, in the dining room. I've moved the machine in and out of places. Like, you don't have to have everything. I love the finished quilt. I love working with different colors and, you know, yeah, I love seeing the project. The other favorite part of the quilt is the planning. I always love the planning because it's going to be the perfect, best quilt I've ever made. Until the point that the creation isn't working how you want. Then the hate begins, but a break and you start another day. And often it's because I've been hurrying. I've been lazy. I want to do the easy way. So you break for the day and the next day you start over. You rip out, which is not fun, but yeah, you learn that there's a right way to do things, and really that's the way you're going to have to do it. Once I finish a quilt and I give it away, I don't have ownership of it anymore. So there's no, you must treat this as the best thing that's ever happened. My only caveat is do something with it. If it gets worn out, put it in the dog kennel. Put it in the trunk of the car. Use it for a picnic blanket. If it gets too worn to use anything, if I'm still alive, please send it back to me. I'll cut it up and we'll use it for something. The older you are, sometimes I can't believe the knowledge I've got in my head because it's just there. And I never think to talk about it or what I'm doing until you say to a new quilter, well, oh yeah, you just do that. Yet, oh, you didn't know about that? No, because nobody told me. Well, it's not like a lecture we do. If you ask a quilter, or if their quilter is telling you about their quilt, they will automatically point where their mistake is. It's funny. Oh, they'll say it's beautiful. Yeah, but remember, see that where I'm at? It's because you're so close to it. But no, I don't want them to be perfect. The best I can do them. And the more I try, I realize you're never going to be perfect. You just try.